Hello everybody, welcome back. This is your tropical update for September 19th. We're currently watching Category 1 Hurricane Fiona located north of the Dominican Republic after drenching Puerto Rico, causing catastrophic flooding, which is ongoing and will continue up to possibly an additional foot of rain. The entire power grid of Puerto Rico is gone at this point in time. Fiona, just a Category 1 hurricane, going to continue to strengthen into Category 3. We're also watching Invest 97L in an area of interest behind Fiona. Here is today's impact map. As you can see here, a high risk, mainly due to storm surge 3 to 5 feet, as well as rainfall additional amounts. We could also see significant rainfall across the Dominican Republic with storm totals to 20 inches. Of Puerto Rico storm totals will be around 30 inches, but at this point it's decreasing and the bulk of the rain has already fallen, but it will still continue to fall for quite some time. We're also watching Bermuda very closely for potential major hurricane impacts down the line. They're on a high risk due to both storm surge, wind, and wind impacts. Also, further later on in the life of Fiona, we're watching the Newfoundland, as well as Nova Scotia for potential impacts, perhaps as a strong tropical storm or hurricane, at the very least as an extratropical cyclone. Again, Invest 97L, another area of interest behind it, and for that reason, we're watching the Southern Lesser Antilles for potential impacts. Here's Fiona today. As you can see, it just moved off of the Dominican Republic, making its way now towards the Bahamas, then towards Bermuda, then towards Atlantic Canada. As I mentioned earlier, catastrophic flooding and power outages are ongoing in Puerto Rico right now, where a tropical storm warning remains in effect for that territory. We also have hurricane warnings, hurricane watches, tropical storm watches in effect for various locations as is needed. The current max winds with Fiona are at 90 miles an hour. That's expected to increase over the next several days into a major hurricane near Bermuda as a Cat 3, perhaps even a Category 4. As we can see here, a mid-range Cat 3 seems to be the main idea here with Fiona, as well as storm surge 3 to 5 feet throughout the Dominican Republic, as well as portions of the southeastern Bahamas and Turks and Caicos. So again, major impacts still expected throughout the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and the Bahamas. It'll make its way up towards Bermuda, which you can't even see on this map today because many of the models have Fiona, or maybe it's eye wall, maybe not its eye wall, and it'll just miss it. But a lot of models have the eye wall of Fiona going near or over Bermuda, which is worth noting before making its way up towards Nova Scotia and Newfoundland as a lower-end hurricane, becoming an extratropical cyclone with a massive wind field. Here's Invest 97L, 30% chance of formation within the next 5 days. No threat to land with this one. However, the area of interest behind it has a 20% chance of formation in the next 5 days. We're going to keep an eye on the Lesser Antilles as it makes its way into the Caribbean Sea and could have impacts later on. This one won't turn up to the north towards Puerto Rico, though. As we can see here from the European ensemble, this brings it well into the Caribbean Sea, perhaps near Jamaica, Guatemala, Honduras. Guatemala, not sure why I said Honduras, Nicaragua. And we'll see exactly where that gets later on. This is already 7 days out, so that's a far way away. It develops 97L on the European ensembles, also brings Fiona dangerously close to Bermuda, already bringing dangerous impacts to much of these areas as things stand. We also have two storms we're watching behind the area of interest for potential development later on. It's getting active here in the Atlantic, the GFS telling much the same story. 5 systems to watch, Fiona, 97L, and 3 tropical waves across the Atlantic over the next week. Again, that area of interest behind Fiona could be of concern later on, but for now, we're just going to sit and wait and see if it develops first. Fiona's our main concern for the time being, mainly for the people of Puerto Rico, where they have no power, significant rainfall, and flooding, as well as the Dominican Republic, where significant rainfall, flooding, and mudslides are going on. Later on, the Turks and Caicos and the southeastern Bahamas, of course, Bermuda and Atlantic Canada. It's a whole suite of impacts associated with Fiona today. And so at this point, we really just need to continue to monitor Fiona, make sure that the storm continues to stay away from land as best we can, hopefully turning north quickly towards Bermuda rather than impacting the Bahamas much, and then going to the west of Bermuda rather than over Bermuda would be an ideal scenario. Yeah, so that's all I have for today. It's a lot, especially with Fiona causing major impacts to the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico as we speak. That's all for now. Chris 674, Catholic Video.